Are we ready for some more Film Fest or what? Yes? All right. It is my pleasure to welcome to the stage a big group of the cast of Big Wednesday. We're very lucky to have this many people in the room. Just listen to this from Denny Auberg, Gary Busey, Ian Kahns, Rick Dano, William Catt, Daryl Fetty, of course, we honor John Milius. Incredible to have him here tonight. Lee Purcell, Jay Riddle, P.T. Townend. Cast of Big Wednesday, please come to the stage. All right, St. Louis, Obispo, and Fremont, we can do better than that. Let's give it up for the cast of Big Wednesday. Get in there, Gary.
People can stand up. You sit down.
Now, we have a few mics. Let's grab this other mic over here, too. We got one more. We'll give that to Gary. God only knows he'll need it. Hey! That's right. Oh, sorry, Greg. We're going to grab this other mic over here.
Hello.
This one good, Tim? We'll pass this one down. Now, we have a little time, too. We can pass this mic down, and I'll use this one for you guys over here. We got Greg and the crew here. Now, the first question I want to ask has to do with El Salvador, because you made a joke about El Salvador that you don't want to take any credit for it. As beautiful as it was, and how these actors got to surf with these amazing professional surfers, El Salvador ended up being a very tough situation for you. Talk about that.
Well, we went down there for 7 weeks to shoot some of the surfing shots, and Bill and Jan and Gary and John came with us. And there was a war going on, but mostly it was away from us, since we were at a point in northern part of El Salvador, and there was a beautiful La Libertad. There's a wonderful point that looks just like Malibu, and the wave is very similar. And so we kept waiting for a big 12-foot day, and it really never showed up. But we all got sick. And it was, Denny, maybe you can help me with this.
Well, I remember one day Bud Brown lost his camera, his expensive camera in the surf, you know, a movie, Panavision or something. And so we all went diving for it in this murky, muddy, dirty water in El Salvador. And right after that, everybody had this special amoeba. And it came back looking like refugees, like 30 pounds, really, literally. Everybody lost weight, and we stumbled off the plane.
Hey, something happened with Billy Catt. We went out and had some mezcal. And there was a dreaded worm in the bottle. Billy goes all the way. So he did. The next day, he came up to me and looked at me with a straight face and said, "My amoebic dysentery is over." That means he was clean. He didn't have to carry toilet paper with him. He was fresh and ready to go. Way to go, Billy. Masculine hygiene on a surfboard.
Is this on?
It should be on. I mean, yeah, maybe we need to give this mic a little bit more love, because it is on, but I want to make sure they can hear Billy.
Okay. I just wanted to say that Gary and I actually met on the set of Kung Fu. So my experience with psychedelics and various other things started way back then.
Well, what happened? We were in the dressing room with David Carradine. Billy and I were playing guitars, and Will Gear was rolling cigarettes. And there's a knock on the door, and the assistant director said, "Hey, we're going to shoot this fight scene in slow motion, so we need you all." And I said, "I'm thirsty." And David said, "Have some grapefruit." So I did. Then my saliva glands went off, and I said, "What's in that?" He said, "There are 21 hits of Clear Light." I was peaking on acid when it came to the scene. And man, is that something I'll never forget. And the way I was talking, the way I was seeing things, I can express that to you now. But as soon as I do, all of you will be calling 911 to get me to the hospital.
Needless to say, my life has never been the same since I met Gary.
Hey, that's the way it is. That's just the way I am.
He's got spirit.
Yeah.
I want to give the microphone to Lee Purcell because really she was the queen of the entire crew. Now, you saw, Denny Aubert shot that wonderful shot of her with a bikini at the ranch. I wish that shot were actually in Big Wednesday.
You know what Lee? Do you know what Lee can do?
No.
When she perspires, her perspiration smells like Chanel 5.
She's a perfect woman.
That's nice.
Now, what was it like being in a crew and on a set with so many men?
Reprobates.
Yes.
It was really, really scary. And it was really interesting because you look at these guys, how they are now.
Go ahead,
They're
Lee.
so much worse. And it was great because I did kind of feel like a queen. I kind of get thrown around a lot, but I did feel like a queen. But it was great because John, no matter what was happening, he always took care of me. And he's like my dad, so. Yes.
That's a good say. And I felt like that. I had some feelings like that too. I was talking to my dad.
Yeah,
Talking to
it was
my
like
father,
that. If your dad was the greatest storyteller on the planet.
Oh yes, let's hear
you
it for
know.
that.
And then there was
Yay!
there were a lot of times that, Billy was there and you were there sometimes years and years later, when John had his offices at Warner Brothers, which he had there for a very long time. And we would just drop by, remember? And we would just sit down and just kind of be in awe of the master while he was telling us these incredible stories, which would turn into scripts. And it was quite a lesson. I had a great time.
One that you'll never forget, probably. Like,
Oh, no.
Like all of us.
Like all of us, yeah. 'Cause
Forever embodied in the
It
heart.
certainly made an impact upon me and upon Billy and upon Jan and Gary and everybody here. And, of course, I miss Bear. And I miss Sam.
Sam Melville.
Yeah, I miss Sam. He
One of the-
played Bear, and
one
he
of the
died too
nicest-
young. But he was a great man as well. I always thought he was like John's doppelganger.
Sam Melville is the nicest man I've ever met.
He was the nicest
My
man.
70 years of living, Sam Melville.
He was a great guy.
Yeah.
I'd like to add just one, since I had this opportunity about John, is he's given a lot of light to a lot of people, and he's been a real bro to a lot of people.
Hey.
And I got to say, since I first met him surfing in the early 60s, he was always a friend to me, a big brother, and he always encouraged me to write. And when I got a chance to write Big Wednesday for me, it was a dream beyond all dreams. And he was so generous in teaching me and being my mentor and teaching me about screenwriting and helping me along the way and being patient with me. I got to say, thank you, John. I love you, bro. And yeah, you're awesome.
You are.
Thank you.
Hey!
A little bit of the same thing happened to me when John first went to see 5 Summer Stories with Denny in Santa Monica, and Jim Freeman was there, and they started talking about Jim and I shooting the surfing sequences for Big Wednesday, and we were really excited about doing that. And then 3 weeks later, Jim was killed in a helicopter crash, and I was at the bottom of my despair and wondering whether I could continue working because, Jim was so much fun to work with and so talented. And John called me and he said, don't you worry. We want you to do this job. We want you to be with us for a year. We want to help you get out of your doldrums. And that is, and I had dealt with a lot of Hollywood people up to that moment, and generally they're not like John Milius. They don't have that human compassion for people's feelings. And even though John puts himself out there as being the man's man and just wanting everything to be really rough and ready, he's got a wonderful heart, as Denny says, and he certainly lifted me out of my despair. Thank you, John.
Greg, I'd love to ask a question, and you can extend this all the way down the line. Oh, go ahead, Gary, please.
John, to me, is an incredible brigadier general with a heart bigger than Texas. And I'm from Texas. That's why I know that, because I felt his heart guiding me on the waves and in the sand and in the car. Whatever was going on, John was there leading it. And thank you so much from my heart and my spirit. My love to you for leading me to a new plateau I didn't know about until you led me there.
Hey, Johnny John.
And Gary went on, right after working on Big Wednesday, to the Academy Award nominated role as
Buddy Holly.
Yes, that's right.
Well, that'll be today.
Now, Greg, let me ask you. We can extend this down the line. After Big Wednesday, it was not as commercial of a success as expected. When you talk about the percentage sharing with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, wasn't that a great point in the movie? And Steven Spielberg has a great line in the film about that. Yeah, we didn't do it again, but I would love to know, because it has become such a cult classic and become such a film that is appreciated by the people who originally John and his team wanted it to be appreciated by. Did it take a little while for you guys all to feel that finally? Or what were those first initial moments like when commercially it wasn't so recepted well?
That's secret information. Classified.
It came out in video, and the video market was new. And it was a brand new industry, and they had video stores. You could actually go rent a movie. And Big Wednesday came out as a video. It was an obscure movie. And all of a sudden, it started doing really well. Surfers rediscovered it, or discovered it for the first time. They never saw it on a big screen. And at home, I guess it just was relaxing. They were able to just enjoy it. And pretty soon, I go surfing down in La Jolla, reciting lines from the movie. And they go, hey, they call each other Barlow, or, hey, Matt, what are you doing? And it was really hilarious. I went, really? You really like it? Oh, really? And it kept growing like that. And it was a big seller in the video market, and then on and on. It was on TV.
Yeah, and now Lucas and Spielberg are looking for their cut.
Yeah, where's the money?
I would like to just say something that I think we all experienced, which was I think it was it Newport? Was it the 20th? We went down to Newport Beach, all of us, and for the film festival down there, and we were in the car together. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm sure you do, though. And yeah, you probably do. And we were in the car, and we drove up, and I remember that there were these long lines around the block, and they were showing other films there, and we were like, wow, I wonder what film that's for. And then we walked in, and there were people, because it's kind of a two-story building and balconies and so forth. There were people hanging from the building, and it was very strange. And then we walked into the theater, and the theater was totally packed. And then they told us that they'd had to cancel the other films and put Big Wednesday in all the theaters.
Yay!
And it was amazing. And as we walked down the aisle, people were screaming lines at us. I mean, it really was like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we weren't used to it, and we were like, holy, wow, this movie's a hit 20 years later. So that was the moment for me when I realized, and then ever since then, there has not been a week of my life that has gone by that some 12-year-old hasn't come up to me and said, Peggy Gordon. I'm like, you weren't born. And he's like, it's my favorite movie. I mean, 12-year-olds on airplanes, on ships, on cruises. I mean, it's phenomenal. It truly has become a cult movie.
When John was directing me, as he does everybody, he does it with such freedom that he's directing you, although you don't know how he's doing it. And the reason you don't know how he's doing it is because he knows you as a performing artist better than you do. Know you as a performing artist. And there's a scene in the Big Wednesday movie coming up where I'm being basted for a barbecue. And I get down, and I get down in the surfing stance facing an open oven. Well, as I said, I play football. So I jammed myself into that open oven twice and knocked both my shoulders down, but I didn't let anyone know.
Hey, John.
And we had no idea you were going to do that. And you had bruises that big on each shoulder.
I know.
It was a mess.
I had bruised shoulders.
You had bruised shoulders.
I want to give a quick shout out to a couple folks in the audience out here. Ian Carnes and PT.
Yeah.
And Jay Riddle.
Jay Riddle.
Where are you?
Did Jan Vincent's double.
Stand
Jay
up.
Riddle.
There we go. Daryl. And Daryl Fetty. Daryl Fetty. Waxer,
Riddle,
please
right
stand
there.
up.
In between Ian.
We're all here to pay homage to John. Say how much we love you, John.
Oh, my God, here they are.
Jay caught that big wave at the end.
You have more?
I don't, but Billy might. Oh, but maybe
You know,
he does.
I think Waxer, excuse me, but Waxer, I don't
Waxer.
know why he's not up here, but Daryl Fetty
Waxer.
is a terrific. Do you have anything to say about John?
Surfer
Come
labor.
on.
Come up here.
Come on up here. Waxer.
Waxer.
He's the one that was in Vietnam and didn't come back, but here he comes.
Here he comes.
She is one of my favorite scenes in the movie that always, every time I see it, it breaks my heart. You know that scene?
Here, Daryl.
Was in the coat? Daryl.
I was getting a beer.
Daryl.
I guess that's a Waxer-like thing.
Hey, buddy, welcome.
Hey. Hey, guys. It's amazing that Big Wednesday has survived, and we're still doing retrospectives here. John is my mentor. He's been. I'm writing and producing now. I did Hatfields and McCoys with Kevin Costner, and John kept saying to me, "You got to do an historical drama." And I kept writing other stuff, and finally I wrote something that works. So I've got that, and I've got Texas Rising coming out in Memorial Day. So I owe all that to John.
Wow.
Well, I think as Denny said, we all owe a lot to John. Hollywood owes a lot to John. Warner Brothers owes a lot to John.
The
And
film industry owes
Yeah.
a lot to John.
yeah, he's
The film industry, definitely.
created characters that you'll remember for the rest of your lives, including the characters in Big Wednesday.
American Film Institute has a list of the most famous movie quotes. I think John has like 5 of them, of the 100 greatest quotes in movie history. And John is right up there. The most amazing quotes.
I bet one of the lines is surfboards, women, and guns.
Yeah.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah, I love the smell.
I love that.
There's a million great Milius lines. Go ahead, make my day.
Go make my day. And then I have to confess, I have to bust myself because I saw John and I haven't seen him in like a year and a half, and he walked up, and of course, I ran up and I threw my arms around him and hugged him. So maybe you were right. Maybe there wasn't too many hugs. Anyway, we love you. You know that, Captain.
And you're saying monologues. Everybody's saying a monologue up here. So it's like.
Well, I think that's probably just the moment to say, let's watch Big Wednesday. Now, let me add one thing. What they've done here at this festival, and that's why this festival is so great, is they got a pristine 35 millimeter print. It's one of the things. Hold on, Gary. It's getting really excited. John had the wisdom, and no one else had done this before John, to shoot Big Wednesday in 35 millimeter scope. So you're looking at the big, big, big picture, and you're seeing it with clarity that was just exceptional for the time. And when you watch this here, it should be beautiful. And so thank you, John, for being technically ahead of your time, and thank you for writing so many wonderful film stories and getting us involved with wonderful characters like these guys and girl here.
What a lineup. One more time for the cast and the production crew of Big Wednesday. Yay. In just a few minutes, we're going to screen Big Wednesday.
Do I get to keep the mic?